On Wednesday, April 20th, NYC basketball legend Dwayne Washington passed away too soon at age 52. Now, what we are going to do today is talk about his life on and off the court, but what he meant, and also we want to discuss what he meant to Brooklyn and especially to Brownsville. Joining me for this discussion is Elmer Anderson, who played with Pearl and is president and founder of I Got You, a youth basketball program. Welcome, Elmer.
Thank you for having me, Mike.
And also, as usual, he's here from time to time, Eric Hicks of GameOverNYC.com.
Good to be back, man.
Welcome.
Good to be back.
That particular piece by Gianni Ford, you can feel the Pearl presence there. But what I also want to talk about is, his relationship with you guys. When did you guys meet him? And since you guys both played at St. Bonaventure's, you never had the opportunity. You played against him, right?
Right.
In Syracuse. But what did he mean to you also off the court and on the court?
Well, first I'll start with, on the court and everything. And the first time that I actually met him, we were in gym class and everything. And
when was this? High school?
This is high school.
Okay.
In high school.
And boys and girls?
Boys and girls high school, 10th grade.
What was this, 80?
And everything. 80, 83, 82,
okay.
And everything. And I remember just sitting in gym class, and it was time for us to play. And, everyone gets out there trying to do their thing. I'm just, I'm a 13-year-old in the 10th grade, and I see this cat on the court, do a couple of moves, and it's like, okay. It's pretty good and everything. But what followed was later on that afternoon, we had a gathering of those prospective players who were going to be on the varsity team. And so I'm there, and of course he's there. And that's when I really got a chance to see him and be introduced to him and everything. And from that point on, we became friends, teammates, and then, of course, a friendship evolved.
Prior to going to Boys and Girls, you ever heard about him playing in the hood in any place like different various citywide basketball, the Rucker League? He never played in those particular leagues, or did he have that sort of a reputation that was throughout Brooklyn?
Quite frankly, no. Okay. I never heard of him because basketball wasn't my thing. Okay. I was a baseball fanatic and everything, and that's a sport that even to this day I still love. But what happened is I started to get a taste of basketball my last year in junior high school. So once I got to high school, that is really the time that we met and everything. But prior to that, I'd never heard of him.
Eric, your relationship, when did you first meet Pearl?
I think I first met Pearl. It was probably in a business setting. I was doing some things with the New York Knicks with a tournament, called Last Man Standing. And Pearl was one of the celebrities that we would have come out, especially when we did the Brooklyn site. Last Man Standing was a one-on-one basketball tournament. And when we did the Brooklyn site, I think Pearl was the guy that was invited out to hand out the trophies and things like that. But what really struck me about Pearl was the fact that, A, he was humble, but B, when you saw him play with the fiery personality and what he did to Georgetown, shredding press and punching Patrick Ewing in the stomach, you didn't expect this mild-mannered, quiet guy, and I'm like, that's Pearl Washington? That can't be Pearl Washington. I expected this trash-talking, brash guy, and there are certain guys as college players that you want to see play, and we don't give a lot of guys their props. Like, that guy's no good. But he was one of those guys, whenever Syracuse played on TV, I must say, me and my friends, if we were in the park playing or whatever, we'd be like, let's go and check out Syracuse. Pearl is on. Pearl is on. And, you get certain guys over the years, let's say, like back in the day, Jordan and guys like that, when they played in college, it was must-see TV. David Thompson, must-see TV. Allen Iverson, Kenny Anderson. Pearl was right there with that. When he was on in college, you wanted to see him.
And during that time, also at the high school level, was folks like him, Chris Mullins, right? And they were all around that particular period. Right?
Yeah. That was an outstanding period. I mean, from Chris Mullins, Mark Jackson, Kenny Smith, Billy Donovan, Kenny Hutchinson. We were loaded. They actually call it the year of the guards, and most of the all-star teams that were comprised of all guards. We may have like one or two big guys, but other than that, it was an outstanding lineup of guards.
And back then, New York City was known for producing some of the top point guards in the country.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, listen, when you think about New York City, you're thinking about flash and dash, you're thinking about the nice passes, and you're thinking about excitement. New York City loves excitement, but also they enjoy hard workers.
And also, it seemed like the players were much more fundamentally sound. We returned to that because of Steph Curry. I want to just switch to this real quick and also tie him into Pearl Washington, the way he plays.
That's interesting. I think one of the things that hasn't been prevalent is people concentrating on fundamentals, but now it's coming full circle, and I think it's important for the kids to understand the importance of fundamentals. I tell you, Steph Curry's dad, Dell, actually pulled his son from playing AAU basketball for a short period of time to just basically work him out, because sometimes AAU basketball, I mean, it's beneficial in some ways because they put you in a venue where a lot of college coaches may be at one location to see you, but also it hurts a little bit because kids are playing 3-4 games a day.
And you never get a chance to work on those skills that you need.
Exactly.
I think what's really starting to become important and people are starting to recognize is the importance of footwork in basketball. And when we talk about fundamentals, we have to start with the footwork. Like a lot of guys want to dribble the air out of the ball and do a lot of dancing and everything. You got to become more efficient, and you really have to address the footwork from the post position and the guard position. And as more and more kids get exposed to people who know and understand this, the more the fundamentals come into play. There's a lot of guys out there coaching that don't know what they're doing.
Tell us about that also. I'm going to talk about the story off the court. When you were at 5-star camp, and you did not make this particular squad, I think it was the last team, the all-star team at the 5-star camp. Pearl made it, but he gave that spot to you.
Right. It was a situation where we were at camp. It was the last session.
It was like about 84.
Yeah.
Okay.
And what happened is I played very well. My teammate was Tyrone Muggsy Bogues. And
Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes. And
Dunbar High School.
Exactly. And we ended up going to the championship, but to get there, we were knocking off all the top teams with all the other All-Americans and everything. And what happened is everyone started recognizing me and stated, like, listen, you have a good chance to make the All-Star team. So eventually, I'm starting to believe this as well based on my play. And then my coach also said, had a good chance. So what happened is they always make the announcement during when you're in the cafeteria, breakfast or at lunch. So they made the announcement. They was calling all the names out. And, in anticipating that I may get called, I didn't when they called the last name. And I remember sitting there and at the end of the conclusion, I walked to my cabin, and I'm with a buddy of mine who I met there, who's still my friend, Tim Briscoe. And I go back to the cabin, and I'm laying down, and I'm in tears. And
when did Pearl come to you real quick?
Okay. He came, and he tapped me at the foot of the bed. I turned around, and it was Pearl. And he goes, listen, it's going to be all right. He says, you're going to play in the All-Star game. I said, I didn't get picked. He goes, no, you're playing in my place. I'm like, Dwayne, you're the #1 player in America. I said, everyone came to see you play in the All-Star game. He goes, no. He said, you're playing. I'm going to tell them that I'm hurt. He handed me his shirt. He handed me his shirt. And everyone knows the white and orange game at 5-star is a big thing. So I played. And I'll never forget that, because that was a selfless act by an All-American who chose his teammate for the long run as opposed to something short-term at an All-Star game.
And that's leadership, man.
And that's the kind of guy he was. One other thing about Elma, when I first met Elma, I had seen Elma play in West 4th Street, tearing West 4th Street up for years. And then we talked, and we started talking about where he played in high school. When I heard that Elma and Pearl were in the backcourt, the same backcourt at Boys and Girls High School, that had to be a hell of a team, man, because Elma in his own right, man, really, really did his thing.
And back then it was known as the suicide division, was it?
Oh, our division?
Yeah.
Oh, forget about it. It's just, you knew you were going to be in for a game. The games, we had to play all our games at LIU and Pratt Institute because the school was too small.
What did you have there for us?
Well, Michael, I actually Thought I'll bring you a nice T-shirt.
Oh,
You
cool.
and Eric.
Me and Eric. Oh,
A
this
nice
is great.
T-shirt.
Look at this. New York Nets.
Yeah.
Pearl Washington
That's what we
Day.
did for Pearl Washington Day, April 9th.
Okay.
And we provided
Sweet.
everyone who entered.
Nice shirt.
those
Collector's
shirts.
item.
Absolutely.
I got to tell a story, like we said. Each T-shirt I get, there's a story behind it.
Hey,
that's a
listen,
story.
There you go. There you go.
I'm framing mine.
You frame mine, me too.
Just line all your shirts up and then come and sit in and just look at everyone and
I
just
have
tell
a
a story.
bunch of them. Matter of fact, I've been giving them away.
Okay.
Thanks for coming. Right?
The pleasure's
and the
all
funeral
mine.
is Friday, correct?
Yes, it is. It's the funeral is Friday. The viewing is Thursday, tomorrow, at Cornerstone Baptist Church at 574 Madison. Those who want to come pay their respects to an outstanding person and fabulous player, please come out because Brooklyn truly is his oyster.
Thank you.